Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. What an amazing week it's been around in this planet of ours. There's lots of things happening, lots of weather events, lots of people have got great news. And of course, in the US, you're heading into your big debate with the two big poobahs, I suppose, if that's what you want to call them. But anyway, we wish them both well. So this week, we're going to be focusing on the Simply Tarot card. That's one of these cards that's a little bit ambiguous. People look at it and say, oh, I don't want any delays in money. Well, sometimes delays in money are designed by fate. Sometimes we need to slow down. Maybe we need to relook at the budget. Maybe we need to look at where our spending's going. Sometimes we need to just reorganise ourselves and say, no, that's enough spending that we can sort of, save up for Christmas or whatever. So it's sometimes designed by fate to slow us down, to make us have a look at where our money's going and how we can improve things. And particularly in this day and age with the cost of living being so high and everything's going out of control, we all need to get a little bit of a better grip, I think, on our money. The secondary meaning of this card is coming in from the cold. Now, for many people that might have felt as if they've been out in the cold, not literally in the cold, but in the cold in their life, that nothing has been going right, no matter what they've turned to, no matter what they've tried, they sort of feel as if they've hit a roadblock or that something's stuck in their lives. Now, again, that can be designed by fate because sometimes we have to slow down because we're actually on the wrong path. And if we keep catapulting forward, we're going to make an even bigger mess than what we had. Where if we're slowed down deliberately by fate, we stop, we look, we listen, we reevaluate, we go back and have another look, and then we go, oh, that's what it is. It's that aha moment. So sometimes this is a very positive card because it's asking us to stop, look, and listen. Now, this week, astrologically, we've got a really interesting chart this week, and I haven't seen this for such a long time, where nobody is actually holding hands, conjunct, sitting together, partying together, or influencing each other. Everybody in their own right is playing their own band. I mean, they're the lead singer in their own band, and they're commanding the orchestra themselves. So we still have the sun in Virgo, so happy birthday to all the Virgos. I know I missed last week's show because I was unwell, but happy birthday all the same. And, it's a really interesting time for Virgos because it's a time where they can really sort of start to shine. They really need to reevaluate, put down their plans for the next 12 months. And we know Virgos like attention to detail. They like to look out and take care of their physical health. They also like to be deep range planners. Now, it's an interesting concept with Virgo because there's two types of Virgos. There's a very motivated, articulate planners, the people that might be a bit slow to action, but they get there. Then there's the others that are just plain downright lazy. And it's interesting because you can vacillate between one to the other, or you can just sit on one side of the fence or the other. And I have plenty of Virgo friends that were very articulate, never stopped thinking, always sort of had a frown on their face and a pencil in their hand, sort of working out the next takeover or whatever it was that was important in their life. And then I have other Virgo friends that are just downright sort of lazy, that never seem to get their act together, well in their 30s, a tribe of kids and still haven't got a job. And you wonder how the two different parts of a sign can come together like that. And the ones that tend to be lazy, as in life, usually are really conscious of their physical fitness, which is sort of a bit contradictory. It's like all their energy goes in there. And I'm not saying the articulated, focused ones with the pencil in their hand don't exercise. They do, but they're more conscious on the food that they put in and time management, and exercise has to fit into the daily planner. So we also have Mercury, the planet of communication, is sitting in Virgo. Now, this affects all the 12 signs. It's asking you to be very articulate. If you have to sign anything, and it's not retrograde, Mercury's gone direct, but if you're signing documents, you're doing something important, you're having an important meeting, whatever the case may be, make sure you've got all your ducks in a row. Make sure that your communication is very clear, it's very articulate, it's well thought out, it's well planned. If it needs to be put into a folder and a proposal on paper, then make sure it's pretty, it's eye-catching, but it's also very informative. Very, very important. So there's a lot of important meetings going on at the moment, and lots of people under different signs have got different things going on in their lives where they really need this sharpness or this focus of the Mercury being in Virgo to make sure that everything is sort of as it should be. The moon is currently sitting in Sagittarius, which is my sign, and it sort of always makes me feel warm and fuzzy when the moon's there for 2.5 days a month. But it's also sort of reflecting more on the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and the opposite side of Gemini. It will wash over the other remaining 8 signs, but for the moment, you should be feeling quite energized, quite pumped. On an emotional level, you're feeling quite excited. And I think you have every right to be, because there's been sort of so much conflicting energy recently that's been affecting fire signs. Then it's nice to get a little bit of a breather and say, oh, we can at least be a little bit positive and be our vibrant selves, just even if it is for a little while. Now, the major news this week is Pluto, the planet of transformation, has actually slipped back into, pardon me, slipped back into Capricorn. Now, he will be there until probably the mid to late part of October. Just, you've got to, even though he might go direct on the 11th or the 12th, you've got to give him a little bit of extra breathing space to sort of say, to ramp up the energy and to get back into Aquarius and get into the swing of something being very different. Now, Pluto in Capricorn is really important because it governs things like big business, government, it, anything official. So at the moment, governments around the world are trying to get things across their parliamentary tables. They're having a little bit of opposition. Things aren't quite going the way that they want to. They may also feel under pressure to tackle some really big social issues. Here in Australia, we're trying to ban social media for children under the age of 14. That's a major bone of contention here in this country, as I'm sure it would be anywhere in the world. But there's lots of things happening on an astrological front that are connected with politics at the moment. For us, the remainder of us mere mortals, it will affect each and every sign in a different sort of way. Now, having said that, the major focus will be, no matter what your star sign, is on anything government, anything official, anything that you haven't sorted out, anything that you didn't rebrand, reorganize, revisit, relook at, come up with a different plan. Even if the different plan was, I've exhausted every other avenue and I'm comfortable, I've got the best electricity deal in the world. That's fine. Pluto's asking you to have one last look, one last double check, triple check, that making sure that as many official things in your life are in the way that they need to be. I can't stress this enough. You've got until the end of October, but please don't leave it till then. I'd like to see you have it all done and dusted by the end of September. It'd be great, because Pluto will slap you around the head if you don't take any notice. So be aware, Pluto's got his baseball bat out for one last time to give us the rounds of the table. Anything that we've missed, we need to now resolve and sort out so that we can move forward as Pluto moves back into Aquarius with a different sort of energy, that we're ready for anything that could happen. Anything out of nowhere could happen. And that's what's going to happen when Pluto moves back into Aquarius. We can expect the unexpected. We're going to have those light bulb moments. We're going to have things happening out of nowhere that we could never expect before. Jupiter is currently sitting in Gemini. Now, this will also affect the other air signs, I beg your pardon. So it's Libra, Aquarius, and the opposite sign of Sagittarius. So he's particularly asking those 4 signs to be, yes, be optimistic. Yes, start new projects, but make sure you've got one eye on the fact that not everything's going to be as exaggerated or as big as you might like it to be. Rein in your expectations a little bit. And then if it surpasses that, then you've had a triple win, that you're feeling quite excited and very happy about things and the way things are going. We still have Neptune sitting in Pisces, which it rules Pisces. So a lot of creative energy flowing, and that's for all the 12 signs. You don't have to be just a Pisces. It's for everybody. There's a little bit of creativity to go around for all of us. And finally, Saturn, the planet of discipline, is also sitting in Pisces. And I'm going to say for the 12 signs, this is sort of going to give you a little bit of a grounding at the moment with everything else that's going on. I think that's probably important, that as we work through finances or family issues or our work life, we need a little bit of grounding and we need a little bit of perspective. And that's what Saturn's going to bring to the table here. We're going to take our first caller, which is Melody in Everett in Washington in the USA. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. How can I help you, sweetie? Melody, how can I help you?
Me?
Do you have a question for me, sweetie?
I'm sorry, I've never done this. I'm sorry if I interrupted. Oh, yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you have a question I can answer for you, please, sweetie?
In terms of my reading, I just wanted to know if I should continue to get off the medication and that I'm on.
Okay, that's a medical question,
I
sweetie.
just want to. Okay. Well, I guess more so. Will it affect my third eye? Like, would it affect me spiritually?
Okay. Look, medical questions are one of those tricky things, Melody, that different places around the world have different rules on this. So I always use
Mm-hmm.
general blanket rule is that I'm not a doctor. I can't discuss a medical thing, but I can talk about it on an
Okay.
energetic level because that's what I'm
Yes.
qualified to do. And on an energetic level
Perfect.
at the moment, and that's what you were asking about is your spiritual self, your third eye, is it going to affect anything by you coming off it? I don't know that it's necessarily going to affect anything one way or the other as far as that's concerned. Yes, there will be an adjustment by your body as you come off any sort of medication. You know, your body goes through different changes, and yes, that does affect us on an emotional or a spiritual level, but it's only a short term thing. It's not a long term thing that is going to sort of affect you in any way. It's
Okay.
interesting because a lot of people sort of think when we start developing ourselves on a psychic level that we need to be so pure and so clean. You know, I've had so many disagreements and arguments with people. Oh, you need to be a vegetarian. Well, no, that's BS. You don't. You need to do what's best for you. If you feel that you want to be a vegetarian, that's terrific. If you feel that you want to be a vegan, that's terrific. If that suits you, if you can't tolerate gluten, then that's a personal thing. It doesn't mean on a psychic level we have to cut things out of our lives or change things out of our lives, including prescription medication, that is going to affect
Okay.
us in any way on a spiritual level. Now, it's interesting because yes, some drugs or some prescription medicines will yes disguise that or slow it down. You know, particular some sort of painkillers that might have a sedative type reaction to them. Yes, of course they're going to slow your third eye down, but that's only a short term thing while you take that medication. Once that's stopped, you'll come back to where you were and sometimes even at a higher level. So I think on a third eye
Okay.
situation, I think the most important thing is to do what feels right to you. If it doesn't feel right, if you feel uncomfortable, then leave it alone. There's no one size fits all. Practice does make perfect. And a lot of people say to me, oh, you know, I struggle with meditation. Well, yes, a lot of people struggle with meditation or stilling their mind. My suggestion for those sort of people is pick a particular song that you like, put it on your device, and then shut your eyes and just focus on the words to the song. It works as well as going into a meditative state and trying to search for answers because all this meditation is stilling the mind for a certain period of time. And a lot of people have got such an active mind or a busy life that they can't afford the time or don't want to afford the time of 15 minutes, an hour, or whatever it might be for meditation or mindful meditation. But we can all grab 2 or 3 minutes here, there, and everywhere. And by doing that and learning to still your mind and just even focus on the words to the song, is actually taking your mind away from everything else that you need to achieve for the day. So, to answer your question, I do believe that coming off your medication is not going to interfere with
Okay.
your spiritual development. Pick something that you're really comfortable with. Don't just pick something because it's fashionable or it's trendy. If you've got a real urge to read tea leaves or coffee grains, then go that way because that's where you're being naturally drawn. We don't all have to be tarot readers or astrologers or numerologists or palmists. We have to find what suits us. And then sometimes we gravitate from that and look at other modalities, and sometimes we don't because that's where our strong part lies. That's where we're going to leave Melody now. We're going to talk with Maya in Omar in Nebraska. Are you there, Maya?
Yes. Hello.
Hello, sweetie. Do you have a question I can answer for you?
Yes, I have a question about my uncle who had passed away.
Right.
Um,
Was that a sudden
I,
situation, sweetie?
I'm sorry.
Was that a very sudden situation?
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
he
Because
had
that's the
passed
first thing I got as
away.
you were sort of mentioning your uncle. It was sort of, to me, they sort of showed it to me as he 1 minute and gone the next, and everybody was sort of, where'd that come from?
I'm sorry.
Everybody seemed surprised or shocked that he was here 1 minute and gone the next. Nobody was expecting it.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt
No,
you, but he was pushing through that information and was like he wasn't going to let you finish talking until he got out what he wanted to say. He was equally as shocked that he was here 1 minute and gone the next. It was sort of I don't know that he's come to terms with that yet. Was he a fairly active sort of man, like to sort of make things happen?
yes, he was.
Yeah, because that was the energy he was sharing with me that sort of like I was in the middle of something really important and the next thing I wasn't there. Like it was like shock, horror, disbelief. He couldn't believe he was gone,
Yeah.
as I'm sure the rest of the family couldn't either. Look, I can assure you he's okay. He's looking out for you. He still hasn't come to terms with the fact that he's gone. That will take him a little bit of time, but there's nothing to be concerned or worried about there. That's just the process of the other side. He keeps showing me a fluffy puppy dog, and I don't know how to interpret that for you, sweetie.
A puppy dog.
Yeah,
um,
but it's a very
no,
fluffy one. Like it's
no.
Yeah, I don't that's what I said, I don't know how to interpret that for you because he was showing me this fluffy puppy dog, but he didn't show it to me in a way that it was something you were going to acquire or something that you had. It was like there was a message behind this fluffy puppy dog. Now, the only thing that I can think of when I see a fluffy puppy dog is we all melt. We all go, "Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that lovely?" Do you know what I mean? It's like it's taking the pressure out of you. I think that's what he's trying to do is sort of make you sort of not be so upset, take the pressure out of the situation and say it's okay, you can smile again, you can laugh again. I don't want your life to stop just because I'm no longer here. Were you very close to him, were you?
Yes.
Because the energy that he's sharing with me is a very protective energy, like a father would a daughter.
He is my uncle. He was like a father to me. He raised me,
Right.
and we were very
Right.
close. But he has been gone in prison for a while, so he's been there in and out. And right when he got out, it's just like he was with us, and he just got his own place, and then boom, that's what happened. And it's a lot to handle. And I do have a
Of course.
couple questions. Has
Mhm.
he Does he have anything to say to me or his sister or his mom or his son that he didn't get to
No,
meet?
if he wanted to come through with a specific message for someone, he would have. I've given you what he gave to me. He's pulled his energy back now. He just showed me the fluffy puppy dog, which I felt was more a direct message for you about that you can take the reins to your life. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to laugh and get on with life again. And he wanted to just take the pressure out of the situation. Now, that also may apply to every other family member too. He just wants everybody to take the pressure out of the situation. There was nothing anybody could have done to prevent what happened in the way that it happened. It was just one of those things. It was his time. And he sees everything that's going on around everybody. And he doesn't want everybody crying and feeling miserable. He wants everybody to sort of find a way to come to terms with, losing him. And that's what I said. He was a very high energy sort of person. He keeps showing me things like, at the Thanksgiving table, he wants a chair. Accept me a place at the table. Don't think you're getting away with that. He mightn't eat anything, but he wants to be still included in things. He wants to be talked about. He wants to be remembered. In that way, I think
Yeah,
we
we
like to
we
keep.
do. He used to make music, and my mom has put his music out there. We were wondering if he loved that and if he liked it because he was a
Oh,
rapper
he does. He
himself.
loves it. Yeah, he just loves anything that's any attention, any reference to him. He still feels part of the family, and that's important to him. That he wants life to go on. He wants people to live. He wants them to laugh and sing and dance and celebrate and, you know, enjoy life. Yes, he knows that there'll be sad times and there'll be times when you burst into tears and, the overwhelming grief is very insurmountable and we can't change that. That happens in waves, and it doesn't matter whether it's 1 week or 20 years, we can still have those experiences. And people tend to sort of think that after a certain period of time, that we don't experience that. We do. And it can come back at many, many different stages. And, what he was sharing with me is he wants everybody in the family, particularly you, to sort of reboot your life, get out there, have some fun, do things that that are going to make you happy. But at the same time, you can say to him, hey, I wish you're here. We're having a great time at the fun fair. You know what I mean? Like, you can talk to him. And if you've got any particular problem, ask your question out aloud before you go to sleep and ask him to give you the answer in your mind in the morning. It may not be as clear cut as you want it to be, but just acknowledge and write down whatever comes to your mind first thing in the morning. Write down how you felt. Write down, was there anything else that was peculiar about your thought? Did it relate to the question? And sometimes it doesn't relate to the question because they give us an ambiguous answer. But know that he's always there with you. And he never had any intention of leaving you. The energy that he shared with me many times for you was like you were like his daughter. He looked at you as his daughter. He knew you were his niece, but he looked at you as his daughter, and he couldn't have loved you any more if he tried. And yes, he mightn't have always made the wisest choices in life, but that's who he was. He was a lovable larrikin. He lived life to the full. He didn't miss out on anything. That's what he keeps telling me. And he just wants you to be happy, sweetie. So I hope that's helped you find some sort of peace out of your uncle's passing, has it?
I am actually wearing his ashes around my neck at the moment, and
Mhm.
we do celebrate him on his birthdays, and we have him like his name out there. Like we
Mhm.
have him memorized every day. We have him
Well,
on our
that's good.
mind all the time, and so does his sister. And his sister really wants answers, and she's been trying to get on with you guys, but I really wanted to talk to him too. So
Yeah, look, sometimes they don't necessarily want to talk to us and give us the answers that we feel that we need, and particularly on such a public forum that goes around the world. But his main message that he wanted to get through was he wanted everybody to just start living. Like, look at the fluffy puppy dog and go, oh, isn't that lovely? And then sort of it's like a reboot. It's like rebooting your computer system. It's like, let's reboot your lives. It's nice that you think about him every day, but don't let that become a controlling thing. He doesn't want to be that every day everybody's reminded of he's no longer there and everybody's sad. He wants, if you're going to remember him, think of some of the things that he used to do that were a bit crazy or a bit silly or made you laugh or, how he spoke or, did a silly little thing. He wants those sort of happy memories. He doesn't want sad memories. Sometimes the answer is there is no answers because, we're searching for things that we can put into a box and put on a shelf. And things aren't always that cut and dried. He's accepted the fact that it was his time, even though it was sudden. It was nothing that anybody could have prevented or stopped. It just happened. And that's what he's saying to me. He doesn't even know why it happened. It's just that's it. He ran out of petrol in the petrol tank. That's how he's looking at it. It was time for him to go. So I hope that's helped just Maha. But it's always difficult when we lose somebody because we're searching for logical answers that can help us as humans, as individuals. And as I tried to explain to Maha, it doesn't matter how long since you've lost somebody, there'll always be that sort of emptiness there. Yes, it comes and goes in waves. And yes, we can accept the things if somebody was really sick and we say things like, oh, well, they're not in pain anymore. And they mightn't be in physical pain anymore, but we're left with the pain of losing them, of them no longer being in our lives where we want them to be. There's a particular book that I recommend to anybody that's going through grief, and it's called On Death and Dying by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. You can get it in most public libraries around the world. You can get it on any good bookstore, very inexpensive. I've read a lot of books on grief over my extensive career, but I still keep coming back to this one. It's one of those books that you can go back to, you get answers, you understand the 7 stages of grief, but you can also go back and just open a page and sort of read it like an affirmation, and it's like it's a comfort thing. It's a book I'd never be without, and it's a book I recommend quite often to people that are going through different stages of grief that might get locked up in a particular stage that don't understand how to move forward. Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and it's called On Death and Dying. So this week I want to leave you with a very old song, and it's a song that I think is just so beautiful. And she sings it so well, and there's a few different versions that this lady sang of this, but I just sort of love her very old version with the guy coming in on a motorbike, and it's Gloria Estefan, and it's Anything for You. The words in the song are very, very beautiful, that how she's let go of the love of her life, and she'd do anything to have him back. And I think that relates to many of us, that we do anything for someone if we got a second chance. And sometimes I think the message is, don't wait for that second chance. Do it now. Do it while it's fresh. Do it while you can do it, because it's an important thing that we honour the people that are in our lives this second, today. They may not be here tomorrow. So if you can find that you can do something that brightens somebody's day, makes it a little bit easier for them, then do anything for you. Don't necessarily sort of say to yourself, I'll put it off until tomorrow or next week, because it may just be that little bit too late. So I hope for everybody around the world, I hope you have an absolutely amazing week. And until next week, anything for you. Bye for now.